Welcome back, Tigers! This is part 2 in the DocuSign for Salesforce integration series. In this video, we will show you how to configure a W-9 form that is pre-populated with data from Salesforce, and after the user fills out the form, data will be written back to Salesforce. W-9 forms are one of the more complicated forms to configure in DocuSign because of the requirements in the form. The user should only select one federal tax classification. There are several conditional sections where you need to require the user to fill out the text box if they make a certain selection. Then you also want to make them provide either an SSN or a tax ID. We will show you how to handle all of these tricky scenarios. So let's hop over to DocuSign and see how this is all configured. We want to configure a W-9 in DocuSign to send to our account records in Salesforce. We want to send this W-9 form here from the IRS, and DocuSign has in their template library already configured a template that contains the fields with field merges inside the document. So I'll go ahead and download this and I'll show you what that looks like. And go to DocuSign and we're going to upload it into our templates. We'll click New and we'll click Upload Template. We'll go to our downloads. And then don't worry about that. That's okay. That error is happening. It's not affecting anything. So if we open up this template, we can see that it's pre-configured with all of the field merges already in it. So you would be able to send this out for signature, but it is not tied to anything in Salesforce. None of these fields are configured to pull data or push data back to Salesforce. So this solution is out there, but it's not going to work for us. We're going to configure our own W-9 template in Salesforce so that we can pre-fill it with data, allow the user to modify the data, and then write the data back into Salesforce. So we'll come over to Salesforce and we will go to the DocuSign Envelope Template tab. And then we're going to create a new template, and this will be our W-9. We're going to send this from the account record, so we will choose account. And now we'll upload the document. So you'll first need to download it from the IRS website, save it to your computer, and then you can upload it here. We will click Next, and we will add a recipient. And we want to choose the contacts from this list. We'll just let the contact list come in and then the user can choose which contact they want to switch it to. So I'll show you how that works. We'll change this role to signer 1, and then the action will be needs to sign. Then in the email subject, we want to change this. We want to have it pre-populate with the account's name. So we're going to use the field merge for account name in the subject line. We will click Next. And now we need to configure some of our field merges. We have a lot of field merges already in Salesforce, but those are all pulling from the opportunity object. They are not pulling from the account object. So even though we have the account name field merge here, we cannot use that to put the field merge that's being initiated from the account object in our template. So we'll create a new one, and the object will be account, and then we're going to choose account name. And then we're going to allow the sender to edit this, and then we're going to write back any edits into Salesforce, and then we also want to make this field required. We will click Save and New. The next fields we need to add are all the billing address fields. We'll do billing street. This will write back and be required. All of these fields that we're putting in this document, we are going to allow the sender to edit it, make it required, and allow it to write back to Salesforce. Now there's a limitation within DocuSign when it comes to state and country pick lists. As of a couple of months ago, we opened a ticket with DocuSign and they confirmed this. So if you have all states and all countries visible within your state and country pick list, you will be able to see all states and all countries in your drop downs if you put these drop downs on a DocuSign template. There's no dependency between the state and country pick list fields in DocuSign. If a user selects the United States, they will still see every single state that you have shown as visible in your state and country pick list. Now, if you need to change that, you can go into the back end of Salesforce and go into the state and country territory pick list. Then you go to configure states and countries and territories. And then you can only select the ones that you want to make active. So in this org, we only have the United States set to active. We don't even have Canada set. So just be aware of that. You should have the countries that you don't want visible hidden. Now, if you have multiple countries and multiple states that you need visible within your org, then you will need to do a custom solution for these drop downs within DocuSign. Okay, so we've got the state field here. Then we'll do the zip code. And then we need to add we got street, city, state, zip, and then we'll add the tax ID. And it doesn't look like I have a tax ID field, so let's go ahead and create that. Let me just look on the page layout and just confirm. Okay, yeah, I do not have a tax ID field, so let's go ahead and create that. We'll make it a text field. And then this field is 10 digits long, including the dash. So we'll limit it to 10 characters so that the user can't enter more than 10 characters into the field. We will add it to the page layout. And then we should see it in DocuSign right away without refreshing. Let's see. Nope, we're gonna have to refresh. I'll do a save and close here. And then we'll come in and edit it again. We'll go to our merge fields and we will add a field. And there's our tax ID. Now we have all of our merge fields, and now we need to place these fields on the document. Now there's still a couple of things we have to do to make some magic happen here. We'll go to our merge fields and we'll add the ones that we can. So we have our account name. Actually goes down here. Our address, our city, our state, and then our zip. And it looks like I did not make that zip code required from the field. I can make it required from here. That's fine. And then I can select all these fields and change the formatting. I can also line all these fields up. There we go. Now for the text fields, for the name up here, I don't want this to write back to anything in Salesforce. So I'm just going to drag and drop this name up here and make sure that they're both required. You can make the data label say first name if you want to. That's up to you. Now for these text boxes, these are not required, right? These are all optional. So I'll uncheck that. Probably don't want to have a 4,000 character limit on that one. And then you can name these accordingly. Now, we're not saving these as custom fields, so they're just going to be on this document. So whether or not you name them all isn't too terribly important. We'll drag a text box here. And then we've got our text box down here. Okay, so now we've got to set up this section right here. Now these users need to choose whether or not they're going to provide a social security number or a tax ID. In our case, 99.9% of the time, it's going to be tax ID, and we want that to write back to Salesforce. We don't want the social security number to write back to Salesforce. And we want to require the user to provide either or. Now, the only way to do this that I've found is to first create checkboxes. And so this first checkbox will be labeled SSN. The second one is going to be the tax ID. And then we want them to select exactly one. So that makes these checkboxes required. Then what we do is we're going to drop a field for SSN, and we'll make the validation and SSN on there. And then we have a merge field for our tax ID, so we'll drop that here. And we'll change the formatting so it matches everything else. Now, right now, both of these are required, and we don't want that. We want it either or. So we're going to put conditional logic on these checkboxes so that if a user selects one of these checkboxes, then they will be required to provide either the EIN or the SSN. So you click on the checkbox, and then you see this little menu up here. It says click on the fields to show when trigger field. So what this means is whenever this checkbox is checked, I'm going to click on this field because then this field is required when this checkbox is checked. The logic's kind of confusing there. We'll click done, and then we're going to do another rule on the SSN checkbox. And it's the same thing. When it's checked, we want this field to be required. Now you'll see that the tax ID field is grayed out. So you can only have one field dependent on one other field. You can't have two different fields that require the same field. So we'll click done there. That is configured. Then we have our signature section. You'll see that I'm avoiding the tax classification section. You'll see why in a minute. Okay, so that's all done. We've got this last section in here. Now we have a requirement where we want to write back the tax classification back to a field in Salesforce. So I want to show you how this works because it's pretty complicated. You have to set up a DocuSign Connect connection within DocuSign. So hopefully, maybe you don't need to do these steps for a W-9 form, but maybe these steps will help you figure out how to solve other scenarios and other forms that you're working with. So we will save and close this. No more drop downs. Doesn't have any options. Is it this one? It is this one. So that's interesting. Here. We'll come back and troubleshoot this. We'll put in 2 states there. Let's just take that off the page. Let's try to save now. Okay. I'm getting all kinds of errors. Okay, doesn't look like we're going to be able to save this. Fun. We'll refresh it. The struggle is real. Okay, well, it's saved. It was just lying to us. Okay. Let's try saving. So, this is interesting. We'll come back and debug that state field. Okay, so these settings, we want this W-9 to write back to the account record. We only have one document, so yeah, we'll combine it all into one PDF. So we'll do subject plus PDF on the end. We want a certificate of completion, and we don't need any field updates to occur on the account record as part of this automation down here. Our fields will take care of the write back. Now let's see if our custom button will get created. I've been having problems with this part of the DocuSign wizard. click Save and Finish. Okay, so we've got our account name in there, our recipients look good, our document is there. Okay, so now let's check to see if our button was created. Let's just come here to buttons. And we don't see a button. So I've been seeing, let me just refresh and make sure. I've been seeing this happen. I'm not sure if it's a bug. I haven't opened a ticket with DocuSign yet because I kind of prefer creating my own buttons anyways. So it's pretty easy to create the buttons. So I will provide you with the button code down below in the description in case this happens to you. So we will create new button or link. And here is the button code. And the one thing that you will need to do is replace this ID with the ID of the DocuSign envelope template record that you just created for the document that you want to send out. So we'll put this ID in there. If you're sending this from a different object, you'll just replace the word account here with the name of the object, and then this button will work for you. So we'll call this DocuSign W9. It'll be a detail page button, and we want it in the same window with no sidebar or header. Then we'll go ahead and add this to our layout. Put it up front here. Now let's just refresh and make sure that we can see that button. All right, we're all set. Okay. Now we have some work to do for this tax classification stuff. So we are going to first create a field that's going to hold our tax classifications because we don't have one yet. So we'll create a new pick list, and this will be called tax classification. Sometimes people call this like entity type. And the different types that we want to have are sole proprietorship, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, partnership, trust/estate. I know there's an other, and there's one more. Let's see. C Corp, S Corp, LLC. We got them all. Okay. We will add that to our layout. So now our tax classification fields should show down here. Okay, now if you want this to write back into DocuSign, you have to perform a series of steps. This is a little bit labor intensive, but it's worth it if you need that value. So now we're gonna log into DocuSign. Come over here, and we are gonna go to our settings. And then we'll come down to our document custom fields. We are going to create one field for each value in the tax classification field. So the way that you do this, and this is from some blog I found somewhere in DocuSign, whenever you have a block of fields like this and you want it to write back to Salesforce, so we have to create all these fields as radial buttons with the same name, and then the tooltip has the value that differentiates which one is which. So let me show you what that looks like. So we will call this tax classification radio button, and then we select radio button here, and then your tooltip will say the classification. This value needs to match whatever you are putting in Salesforce. So if they're slightly different than what we're using here, that's totally fine, but just make sure your pick list values in this field that we created on the account match exactly to what you're putting into the tooltip for these radial buttons. Okay, right here, these need to match exactly. So we'll do LLC, and then we'll add another one. And these have to be spelled exactly the same. Then our tooltip will be the next value, C Corp. And make sure these are all radio buttons. You can see I've made some mistakes here. So proprietorship is our last one. It's a hard word to spell. Okay, so we got all those created. Now we also need to create a field for our account ID. So this is going to allow us to write data back using the DocuSign Connect settings. In order to use that, you have to have a custom field that is generating the ID for you. So if you have already a case safe ID on your account record, usually that's one of the things that often gets created. You can use that. We do not have one, so we're going to create one here. We'll call this account ID. It'll be a text field. And then this is just going to bring back the 18-digit ID of the record ID. We need this because in DocuSign, it's a limitation. There's no ID for you to map it to. I'll show you that when we get to it. We don't need this on the page layout. We'll click Save here. We'll come back to DocuSign, and now we're going to go to our Connect settings. You will add a configuration here, and you'll choose Salesforce. If you are in a sandbox, you will choose Test. If you are in production, you will choose production. We are in a developer account, so that is considered a production environment. So we'll leave that set to production. Leave this on 39. You may want to go to, I haven't tested it with 54. I've only tested with 39 so far. I'm sure it works fine with 54. We'll click allow here. And then this is just getting your objects from Salesforce. Now we see that this is the URL for our org. And we can see our connection is inactive. And then here we want to select accounts because this is where we're initiating the DocuSign send from. And then we're gonna come down here to the trigger events because we only want these connect settings to happen whenever the DocuSign envelope has been completed. We're gonna configure a new object here. I didn't click save. Anytime you make a change in here, you have to save it in the previous screen. So then this is going to be our account object. We only want this to occur when the envelope has been completed. And we're going to select account from there. And then here's where we say, well, how is DocuSign going to find which record in Salesforce to update? What we're going to do is drop the account ID field onto our W9. So it's going to find it by looking for the account ID that we are storing in a custom field. And then we're going to map this to our custom field that we created, our account safe ID. Where is it? Account ID right here. So that's what I called it in Salesforce. I'd feel a lot better if I knew that was the account case safe ID, because we've got this one too, which does not work. I have tried that and it failed miserably. We'll change the name and we'll come back and check that. Then this down here, this is where you're telling it, hey, I want you to look at these radial buttons that I created. And this name that you write in here has to be the exact name that you called all those radial buttons. This account ID field has to be the exact name that you called this field in DocuSign, not in Salesforce, in DocuSign. So this side is on the DocuSign side. Then we want it to map whatever value is in the radial button that the user chooses. We want to map it to our tax classification field over in Salesforce. We don't want to do any attachments here, and then we'll click save. We can make this active. We'll click save there. We'll click back in, and then you can see this connection is not active yet. So I want to come over here and I want to change the name of this because I feel like so many applications call it account ID. I should have called this account case safe ID anyways. It's a way better name. Now let's refresh our DocuSign Connect settings. We'll click into here and edit this. And then we can see that our field went away because we renamed it. So that's another hard lesson you may learn. If you change the API names of your fields, you'll need to come in and remap it here. But here I can see my KSafe ID field. So now I know for sure that that's the right field. And I'll click save here. And then I'll activate this. DocuSign Connect is now all set up to update that one field. I know, so much work for that one field, but we're going to show you other videos where we will use the Connect settings to do some other cool stuff. Okay, now our Connect settings are all set up. I just want to click into here and show you right here. So this field, we've said that we're going to configure a field called account ID. So we're going to hop over to Salesforce and configure this field so that it pulls over the KSafe ID. So we'll come back to Salesforce, go to the DocuSign envelope template record that we created earlier. We'll go to merge fields and we'll add a new merge field. This is going to be our account KSafe ID and we'll call this account ID. This is read only for the signer, and we'll click save. Now we're ready to place the fields on our document. We'll come to our merge fields. In this account ID field, we can place either at the top or the bottom of the document, and then we want it to be in white font because we don't want anybody to see it. Okay, then we're going to add all of our tax classifications. Now, watch when I drop this on the page. Over here on the left hand, or on the right hand side, my other left, you'll click on radial button values. So you'll see that this first one is configured to be S Corp in the tooltip. So we will drop that one over to the S Corp field. We will drag and drop the next one. This one is LLC, so we'll put that one here. The third one is C Corp. So you need to watch this menu over here whenever you drag it. The fourth one is partnership. The fifth one is other. Sixth one is sole proprietor. And then the last one must be trust estate. So we'll line all these up. And then we'll line these up. Almost done. Now we need to do our show hides for those text fields. So those, we'll drag this text field here. This needs to be in black. It's required, but only if they select LLC. So we're going to do some conditional formatting for that. And then same with other. We'll do something similar. So we'll click on here. We will go into the conditional logic and we will create a rule. And so whenever LLC is chosen, the user will need to fill out that field. So we'll click done. We will click create a rule again. And whenever the user selects this other now, they have to fill out that text box. Okay, so now we've got everything configured in here. We will save and close this. And I think we're finally ready for testing. So we'll go over to our account record and we will refresh this and we'll click DocuSign W9, click next, and we can see here that this is pulling in the first contact. So we want to change it to Mickey. Right now this looks fine, the subject line and email message. Okay, so we can see that the data is populating in here. We can see that our state field is missing. And these are not required, these radial buttons. So we need to fix that, add in the state, and then we need to put a character limit on this tax ID. Let's go ahead and discard these changes and let's make those 3 updates to our template. We will go to place fields. We will make this required. We'll make this 10 characters, and then we'll put that state field that we were having an issue with before back on the page and see if we still have a problem. Looks like it's going to be okay now. Okay, we'll save and close this. Let's come back to our account and let's resend this. We'll change this to Mickey. And then we will select next. And we'll just make sure our template, it looks okay. The required now, we've got the state field now. Probably want to move it over a little bit, but we can do that in a minute. And then this is 10 characters. All right, let's send this puppy. Now we can't see that the DocuSign envelope was sent out for signature. We're gonna add the DocuSign status related list to the account layout. Come down here, we'll go to related lists. And then another thing that we'll do is we will modify the account record page. We're going to add the DocuSign envelope lightning component to our page. This will give you the ability to void documents from Salesforce or correct envelopes right from Salesforce. You won't have to go into DocuSign to do those 2 actions, which is nice. We will add our tabs here. I'm going to make this open up to our details tab. We'll call this one DocuSign. We'll click the details tab. We'll drag our record details up there. For some reason, I'm getting this error today. I just close it out and everything's fine. Not sure what's going on. Then you drag and drop your DocuSign envelope status. You click save. And then we'll come back to our account record and refresh. We can see that our DocuSign status is there, but we don't want that to open up to that section. We'll change it again because I know we changed it once. Okay, let's refresh and make sure that our record opens up to our details page. It does. We've got our DocuSign status record right here that says it was sent out for signature. Now what we'll do is we will sign this. Show you what this looks like. So here, we'll just put in anybody's name. And now all these fields are going to write back to Salesforce. So we want to confirm that that's happening. So we'll just make up some changes here. We'll want to confirm that when I choose LLC, I have to fill out that text box or other. This text box comes up, which is great. So we'll be a C Corp today. Then we'll make this Magic Kingdom Way. We'll make this say Orlando, make this Georgia, and we'll make this be a different value. And then we'll select the EIN, just confirm that we select social, that text box shows. So let's go ahead and just make sure that we get an error if we try to finish this. So yeah, it's telling us this is required, which is great. So we'll select this one and we'll fill out our tax ID. And I can only put in 10 characters, and then we can finish here. All right, so now what we do is we wait about 30 seconds for this all to come back into Salesforce. We'll see this DocuSign status record go to completed. So we can see that some of the data is already being changed. The tax classification is something that will come in last. So there we see that come in. It's kind of neat to see it happen live, because what happens is that the document fields write back, and then the DocuSign Connect runs, and then that puts our tax classification in. All of those are working. Our name got updated, our tax ID got updated, our city and state and street got updated, but we've got a problem with our zip code. We need to check that out. But other than that, we're good. And then we can see, this is from a test I did earlier. So here we can see that this is the file that just came in. And our certificate of completion is not coming in, as we said to put everything in one document. So if we click into here, our certificate of completion will show up at the end here, which we can see that. If you wanted it separate, I'll show you where to do that. Another thing is our account ID is kind of covering up the envelope ID. The envelope ID you sometimes do need. So we'll go ahead and go into the template and we'll move that. Okay, let's go back in here and let's click edit and let's check out the zip code. Let's move that account ID, and then we should be all set after those two things are done. Let's look at our merge fields and let's check out our postal code here. Billing postal code, that looks correct. Ah, see here, we didn't tell it to write back, and we didn't make it a required field. So that's why it didn't write back to Salesforce. So it did exactly what we told it to do. So we'll save that. We'll click next. And then whenever you make changes to a merge field, it doesn't auto update on your template. And I'm sure that's by design, and I agree with that. You just need to make sure that you remove the field that you just modified in your template and you add it back. So we will add this back over here. We'll give it the right formatting. We only want it to be 5 digits, so we can limit it there. And then we'll just drag this little account ID down to the bottom here because nobody cares about that. And that is all the changes that we wanted to make on this document. We'll save and close it. And save and close here. And then of course you would want to run another round of testing to make sure that those modifications to your zip code did indeed work. That's it. That's a wrap. We hope you gained some great information on how to configure documents to write back into Salesforce. Be sure to subscribe to Blue Tiger Academy so you don't miss the upcoming videos on how to further work with DocuSign in Salesforce. In the next video, we will show you how to write a flow that will create Salesforce contract records when a completed DocuSign envelope comes back into Salesforce, automating your entire contract management process. If you have any questions about this video, or if you would like to see a tutorial on a different Salesforce topic, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.